People. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start. First of all, my name is Mercy Boama. I'm the marketing officer at Teba Educational Initiative. Thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate it. So today we're going to be talking about human relations. Actually, let me first share my screen with you all. So today, we are going to be talking about human relations, what it is, and also look at some examples and then see how we can better improve our human relations. So before we begin, let me start by asking you all. There's no right or wrong answer. And I just want to hear from you all. What do you think human relations are? Or if you hear about human relations, what is the first thing that comes in your mind? Do we have some volunteers? Okay, or should I mention names? Okay, please do not be shy, okay? This is
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Please say your name first and then tell me what you think human relation is.
Okay, so hello, everyone. I'm Sally Abba Asifwa, and I think human relations is working hand in hand with your fellow human beings so that you enjoy peace between you two, or if it's a group, you have peace of mind and work together effectively. Or when I hear human relations, what comes into mind is emotional intelligence. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That is wonderful. Anybody else?
Okay, so my understanding about, sorry, I'm Jacqueline Bentalakwe. So my understanding about what human relations means is our daily interactions with people, wherever we find ourselves, our daily interactions with them to achieve something at the end of the day. So that's my understanding concerning what human relations are.
Okay, that is correct. Yes, you're right about that. Wow, you all are very knowledgeable about this. Anybody else? We'll take one more person and we'll move on.
I'm Al-Hassan Umar.
Come again?
Al-Hassan Umar.
Hello?
Yeah, please, can you hear me?
Yes.
What I know about human relations, it's actually about the treatment of people in a professional context.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
All right. Well, thank you all for participating. So like I mentioned, there's no right or wrong answer. All the answers you all gave are perfect and they are all correct. Okay, so now let's dive in more about human relations. So why are we talking about this topic, human relations? Now we human beings have the perception of, that humans are strange, and I believe you all can agree with me. We are strange people. We behave differently from other people. We are all different, but we're also alike. And then sometimes we want to be like we want others to like us, but we don't want to like other people, right? And then also we all have our obstacles. We have things that we all go through. And then sometimes too, we cannot get along with people. We may have issues with people. And then sometimes it even ends up, hurting our relationships with other people. And so it is very, very important for us to learn about human relations. And it also helps to build relationships as well. And these relationships are not only between maybe your friends or your maybe colleagues or even your family members. So this is something that we all need wherever we go, no matter where we find ourselves to be. So it is very important for us to learn human relations and also learn about what can also affect us, which, you know, includes both positive and also negative aspect of human relations. Okay, so now what is human relations? So this is a definition. I gathered different types of definition. You can find so many definitions of human relations. And like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong answer. So with human relations simply means interaction among people, or defined as how people get along with other people in a given environment. And it's also can be it can also be a skill or ability to work effectively through and with other people. And we're going to take a look more into human relations. And there's no other person than Elton Mayer, who is also known as the father of human relations. So this man is a psychologist, and he came up with the Hawthorne effect. And with the Hawthorne effect, basically, there was an experiment done in Cicero, and it's a suburb of Chicago, and this is in the United States around 1924. And the National Academy of Science had Western Electric Company. So Western Electric Company, they manufacture telephones. And so they conducted an experiment at their Hawthorne Works facility. And with this experiment, the purpose of this was to be able to identify relationships between productivity and work environment. And they also wanted to know the level of lighting, if it will improve production in the factory. And so now this is what they did. During the process of this experiment, they increased lighting and interviewed people if working conditions were improved. And then they found out that there was an increase in productivity. And then also by finding that they proved the results by reducing the amount of lighting to determine if production will decline, but actually it did not decline, it increased. So whether, you know, they increased the light or they dimmed the light, the results were still the same. And so after this experiment, people were like, okay, what was the point of the experiment? Like, we couldn't identify anything. We don't see the point of this experiment. And so when that happened, the National Academy of Science had to cancel this experiment. And the Western Electric Company they went in depth to find the cause by using the same format that was used in the previous experiment, which is, you know, improving the lighting and then also dimming as well. But in this experiment, they actually used the relay making, and this involved using small group of women for the study. And they found out that about 30%, there was a 30% increase in output in relay making. So the employees were interviewed about how they felt about their jobs, their supervisors or managers, and then also the working conditions. And they found out that you know, if supervisors or the managers cared more about their working conditions, they were happy. They were excited about it. They were able to be more productive at the job place. And so this experiment actually spread, and then a lot of people heard about it. And so now managers, you know, employers were more taken into consideration about you know, getting feedbacks from their employees to see if they were satisfied at the job place, if let's say they had to improve working conditions, and how they felt or they felt about this, about the work that they were doing. And so it also paved a way for other employers to create so many policies as well, And then also, again, to provide some sort of benefit to the employees, because at the long run, it helps people to, stay at the workplace instead of quitting jobs, because over here, people may not be happy about their job place. So many people can quit because, they're not being treated well. And I'm not saying because people are being treated badly, but I'm just giving an example. So if people are not being treated well, of course, they will quit the job. And so human relation is something that employers really, really look at when it comes to that. Now, with this experiment, there was also the misconception of the findings, and people were like, okay, people will be more productive if they're being watched. So let's say if there is a camera there, and this will allow people to be working more, but that was not actually what it was. They basically missed out the experiment that supervisors being present and visible was not enough. Them just being there and being watched or whatsoever was not just enough, but rather if they felt that they were being heard, they felt that their voices were being considered and stuff like that, they were happy. And so we noticed that or people noticed, or the employers noticed, that it was very helpful to always incorporate those ideas into the workplace. Now, we're going to talk more about, so how do you relate to people, or how do you become sensitive to other people? And we'll just talk about these 3 principles. Now, remember, there's this quote by Maya Angelou that says that people will forget what you said. They will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And I believe all of you all have had some experiences whereby, you've, had really, really maybe bad relationships with other people, maybe at your former school, or maybe growing up, you never had a good relationship with somebody. And then now, like looking at yourself now and thinking, like sometimes when you even see the person, like what goes through your mind? Like, sometimes you can even panic because you're like, oh, I don't talk to this person. And you see just what goes through your mind, your heart, like your reaction when you see that person, it's not a good feeling, right? And if you have like a good relationship with somebody, when you see them, you're able to smile with them, you're able to say hello, even if you've argued with somebody, you're in a conflict with somebody. When you see them, like just look at the way you may look at them, like you may look at them in a weird way. How's that feeling? And I can pretty much assure you that it's not a good feeling. And it is not something that we want to continue doing, but rather we want to be able to create a better relationship. Now, the first one of the principle is that we need to become friendly. We need to be a friendly person. We don't need to criticize or condemn people or be viewed as a person. We need to be viewed as a person with honest and sincere and show appreciation and then smile. We want to be remembered about what we have done to make somebody feel better, instead of them having a bad perception about us. Now, I'm not saying that even at the workplace, you may get criticized, and sometimes criticism is good, sometimes also it can be bad, but always just try to make sure, like, for example, let's say when let's say somebody steals money, right? Now, what would everybody think of the person? Oh, this person is a thief, I'll never get close to the person. And nobody wants to associate with such a person, right? But we don't know what is going through that person's mind. We don't know why the person did that. Now I'll use myself as an example, like growing up, and in the Ghanaian culture, we all know, we have this perception, or like, we have to do the right thing. And even in church, or even if you're Muslim, we want to do the right stuff. And so sometimes when you see somebody doing the opposite, like you tend to judge them more, you tend to think that they're a really bad person, and you don't even want to be close to the person, right? But throughout my experiences at the workplace, at school, whatsoever, I have learned to actually get to understand why people do certain things instead of like judging them, because I put myself in their shoes. And I don't know what may have prompted the person to do what they did. Now, I wouldn't approve of, bad behaviors, of course, but I want to be able to step back and try to figure out, okay, why did this person do that? Maybe if this person had this, would that person would have done this? Or, just think or ask yourself some questions. And then be friendly when you see somebody at school, or even at church, say hello, say hi to them, because you never know what the person is going through. Maybe even coming to school, or even coming to church, or even meeting the person somewhere. Maybe it's the only place the person finds joy. And, just finding that comfort in you, communicating with you, and the person seeing that you're being so friendly to them, they'll always remember that. Versus remembering that this person treated me badly and stuff like that. And then the second one is, let's be more approachable. Project a welcoming, friendly posture. Don't look busy or preoccupied. Like if somebody's talking to you, they're talking to, but because you don't like them, you're not even going to pay attention to them. You're not even going to look at their faces. You just be doing your own thing. But doing that, it's not creating good relationship. It's not being approachable. I'll use myself as an example. So when I first came to the United States, and so let me give you a little background about me. So my dad was somebody who was very, very, very strict, right? And I felt like I was a very good kid. I was a good girl, and I always wanted to do the right stuff, right? And then so every little thing, he would just yell at me, and just, think that I've done something that I really have not. I remember one time I had watched a TV, and you know how in Ghana, like you can go to somebody's house and just watch TV. Back then, in those times, we didn't have TV. My dad didn't have TV. And so I would usually go to some other, the neighbor's house and watch TV. And he told me, you can never watch TV. You can't do this. And then one time there was this show. I know some of you, and probably most of you, like watching movies, right? And I was like, I cannot miss this movie. Like, I have to see what happened in this movie. And so I was more focused on this movie. And then one of the women at the house was like, oh, Mercy, why can't you just come to our house and watch TV with us? Now I told her, no, I cannot, because my dad doesn't want me to watch TV. Now, meanwhile, my dad has never told me why I can't watch TV. He hasn't described that to me. He just said, don't watch TV. I don't know why. I assume he just wanted me to study and study and study. And guess what? Sometimes, now I'm not telling you guys to do this, but sometimes when he tells me to go read, I don't read the book. I'll be just skimming through the book, skimming through the book and just looking through the book, because I'm like, why should I read? Why do I have to read? Like, this is boring. I don't want to do this, and I'm sure you all have experienced something similar. And so, to cut the long story short, my dad found out that I watched the TV, and that night he was so angry. Oh my goodness. And I had to run to my grandma's house, and I can never forget this, what happened this day. And he was so angry, and he even at the point even had to raise a cutlass and was like, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, wow, this man is really angry. Why would you do that to your own daughter? If you love me, why would you do that to me? And so growing up, I always felt that he never liked me. I always felt like he probably didn't want me to be close to him. And so I had all these thoughts in my mind, right? And so, and even up till now, because of that, like, the relationship that I have with him is not like the one compared to my mom, And he has even said, oh, I'm always talking to my mom and I don't communicate. And he doesn't tell me, he tells other people, right? But it's because, like, growing up, you made me more scared of you. You didn't provide a welcoming environment for me to get closer to you. And so now I'm more like closer to my mom. And, we even go out to get our nails done and stuff like that, We want that kind of relationship. And so I've always told myself, I want to have that relationship, good relationship with my child. I don't want my child to be afraid of me instead of like coming to me. And so we need to remember we have to be approachable. And because of that experiences I had, when I came to school in the United States, when I go to school, my face, like, it was always frown. I would frown my face. I was not smiling. And people thought I was mean, but in my mind, I wasn't mean, but it's because of the experiences I've had back home shaping who I'm becoming now. And so and then this is one thing I've learned in life. Now, if 3 people complains about the same thing about you, or they say something negative, that means you really need to, reassess yourself and really think about it if it's true or not. This is just what I do. I don't know about what other people would do, but for me, that's what I do. When 3 people at least say the same thing, then I know, okay, then it's becoming a problem. I really have to change. And I don't want to do that, just be frowning my face. And then there was one incident, this woman, we had gone to church, and then, she was like, oh, she's always frowning her face. She doesn't smile. The lady was talking to me, but she didn't really come directly to me. But because she saw me pass and she was just saying it so I would hear her. And so I was like, I think this woman is talking to me. So I need to change the way I look. I don't want to be frowning my face because, then people would think that I'm very mean. And people thought I was mean, and then when they got to know me, they're like, oh, Mercy, you're the most nicest person ever, and you're so different. And so since then, I was like, okay, I'm going to change this behavior because I don't want this. And I'm a beautiful person. I want to stay beautiful. And I don't want people, I don't want to scare people away. I want to be more approachable. And so I changed that. And the third thing that I want to talk about is, becoming a leader. You want to be able to emulate effective qualities of a leader by creating a positive environment, be accommodating, and work well with other people. This may not seem very important to you, but, as you grow, as you find yourself in other places, you understand this more and more. And then this talks about keys in developing human relation skills. Number 1, the first most important thing is communication. Please be able to communicate with one another. If there's an issue, try to talk about it. And make sure you listen to the person before coming in, because when you interrupt the person, that shows disrespect. You're not fully listening to the person. You want to be heard, but you don't want to listen to the person. And so let's be mindful about that and try to communicate with one another. Show empathy, understand other people by putting yourself in their shoes, and show a sincere and genuine interest in the other person, and let the other person know, you're willing to listen and help them. And then also be able to manage stress. Okay. Now, a body is a pressure vessel, and when steam builds up, you may explode and jeopardize relationships. Think about what happens when you're really, really angry. What happens when you're really angry? Can somebody tell me what happens when you're angry?
You do things and you regret later.
You do things and
Without thinking, and you regret later.
yes, you're right. Anybody else? What do you do when you're angry? I mean, you don't have to say it if you don't want to, but give me an example. So I'll tell you what I do when I'm angry. When I'm angry, I can scream. I can scream. And then after screaming, I tell myself, okay, that was not nice, like you just mentioned, I feel bad about it. And then I apologize. But it doesn't mean I scream at people. No. When I'm angry at people, usually I try not to talk about it because I want to be calm first. But like when I'm home, I'm in my house. And so when I'm angry, I have the right to scream, but that's not good. But yeah, so when we're angry, we can do all sort of things. And lately I've heard about so many things with people and their girlfriends killing their girlfriend. And you just imagine what goes through your mind. Like when you're angry, you're not really thinking, okay? You're doing the craziest thing. You can do anything. And so you don't want to do that. You want to remain calm, think about your feelings, what happened, how could I have prevented this? And sometimes you can never prevent things that happen, but like try to remain calm, so that way you don't hurt the other person, because you will really regret. And I'm pretty sure maybe some of you heard there was this man, I believe last year is when this happened, where, he shot his wife. They had conflicts, and now the wife is gone, but right now, he's in custody. And so you really, really want to be very careful when you're really angry. And then also the last thing, try to resolve conflicts, avoid conflicts and combative confrontation tone. So if somebody approaches you, and then the person raises their voice and they try to, do things, crazy things, just don't say anything, because the moment you say something, the person may do something really bad to harm you. And so try to be diplomatic or walk away. Walk away, I think, is the best thing. And then you don't have to fight every battle by compromising over minor problems, not to let the sun go down on your conflict. And if you feel that it's the right way to, or the right thing to do, if you need to walk away, please do that for your safety. Now, these are just examples of what you can do to improve your human relation. Try to call people by their names. I know in our Ghanaian culture, they'll be like, somebody will call you, hey, braha, kwe, mini, stuff like that. But please don't do that. I think that's very disrespectful. Call the people by their names, and like, like Aisha or Linda, I think it's very polite to do that. And try to listen more to people when they're talking. Try to, reason, understand what they're trying to say. If you don't understand it, please try to ask them, is this what you're saying? Just try to listen to them more and show appreciation. When somebody does something for you, say thank you to them. Some, like what I've learned from our culture, like when somebody gives, for example, over here, I know people send stuff back home, and then so when they give somebody something, people don't show appreciation. They'll be like, oh, she gave me this thing. I don't need this. What am I going to do with this? This is nothing. They always expecting bigger things. But trust me, just showing appreciation for the little things, it means a lot. It means next time the person will say, okay, even I gave this person even a pen, this person appreciated and said thank you. And you know, it just always allows the person to think about you also when there's something going on, or maybe let's say you need help with something, the person will be eager to help you more. And then also, don't act when you're angry. I've already talked about that. Try to be calm, and you know, you can always go back and then talk about the problem when the person is calm. And this slides, I want us to do a little activity. If you have a pen and a paper, if you can answer these questions for me, this is a self-assessment question. If you can't really see it, I'm going to read it so you can see it. And then when you get time, you can, you know, score yourselves. Do you all have a pen? Can you get a pen and a paper, or a pencil and a paper? Are you ready? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the first question, this is a human relations assessment. So the first question, now you're gonna see me looking at a different screen because I have two screens, and so it may look like I'm not looking at you, but you know, I see everything. So the first question is, I make sure that I display the same standards of behavior that I expect from other people. So if you think you do it, you put never. I mean, if you've never done this, you put never. If you've done it sometimes, you just put a check, and then say sometimes. If it's always, you can put always. Okay, so that's question number one. I make sure that I display the same standards of behavior that I express from other people. Never, sometimes, always. The second question, I go along with others' decision rather than inject my ideas into the mix. I go along with others' decision rather than inject my ideas into the mix. So basically, you rather go with people's decision than yours, okay? Never, sometimes, always. Okay. The third one, I say thank you to the people I work with. This can be in school, this can be among your friends, church, you know, it doesn't have to be work. I know you all are students. And so human relations is not just for work, it's everywhere you find yourself. And then say, put either never, sometimes, or always. And then the fourth question, while actively talking with someone, I have composed my answer before they have finished speaking. So somebody will say, before, I don't want to get this wrong, but if I remember again, I'll bring it up. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So the fourth one, I'm going to repeat. While actively talking with someone, I have composed. Oh yeah, now I remember. before you have thought. No, I'm saying it wrong.
I have think, I have thought.
Yes, thank you. There's this saying, right? Before you have think, I have thoughts, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. So if you tend to do that more, put either never, sometimes, or always. So choose one. So number 5, I look out for myself at work and do what is necessary to get ahead. So instead of work, put like school, church, or anywhere you find yourselves to be. I look out for myself at school or at work and do what is necessary to get ahead. So never, sometimes, always. The sixth one, I think about how others perceive a problem or issue. Never, sometimes, always. I collaborate with others to solve problems using a variety of problem-solving tools and techniques. Never, sometimes, always. I pay attention to other people's body language. Never, sometimes, always. Number 9, I make sure everyone knows about my contribution to a positive outcome. Never, sometimes, always. And then the last one, I speak first and think later. Do you sometimes do it, always, or never? Okay. Now, if you're done with this, now we're going to do the scoring. So for questions 1 through 8, if you put never, put 1, you get 1 point. If you put sometimes, you put 2. If you put always, you put 3. And then this is for questions 1 through 8. And then from questions 9 to 10, if you put never, you're going to put 3 points. And then if you put sometimes, it will be 2 points. And then always will be 1 point. Now, once you do that, you total possible points, it should be, 30. So always equals 8 times 3, which is 24. So questions 1 through 8, if you multiply it, you're going to get whatever number, and then plus questions 9 through 10, it gives you, the points. And then also, this is how you interpret it. So if you get 24 to 30 points, you have developed human relations capability. 15 to 23, you have some weaknesses that needs to be addressed. So you can do this on your own, like with the scoring. It doesn't, if you didn't finish it, you can do it later. This is just for your own, because we have another presentation. And so this is it. You can take a picture of it so that way you can, work on it after this presentation.
Hello.
Yes.
Please, is it possible that your slides can be shared after?
Yes, I can share the slides.
Okay. Please, will you share it in the WhatsApp platform?
I can do that. Or I can send it
Thank
to
you.
Ms. Viola. Okay.
Okay.
And then this ends my presentation. And I want to thank you all for your time. But even if you don't remember anything, because I know we will definitely forget everything that I probably talked about, but don't forget this, that no matter what you do in life, this is a quote, no matter what you do in life or how well you do it, your relationship with others is the key to your success or failure. Because if you do somebody wrong today, the person you did wrong to, you never know that this person will actually be the one to help you later on, just because you messed up about some, or maybe have had a conflict about some minor thing, that you could have solved or resolved, but failed to do that. And so remember that when you do create good relationship, talk to people, listen to people more, people always remember how you make them feel versus what you actually did. And so it doesn't matter your presence, whatever, but always remember that how you make them feel is very, very important. They'll always take that with them. So thank you all for your time today. And these are just the references that I used. And thank you for your time.
Please, would you take questions now or after the other presentation?
Let's do that after the other presentation. If Veronica is on, you can continue with your presentation. We can take questions after that, okay?
So once your screen stops sharing, I will project what I have. Hello,
Okay.
Lead. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. I am
Hello.
Veronica, and I am the event planner here at Lead, here at TEI. But as you guys know, Lead is a branch of the organization, and I am so happy to be here today. Let me see if I can project my screen. One thing I want to say, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, please.
One thing I want to say before we continue is I am so proud of this team. I couldn't be more happier. I look at the organization, the events that you guys are coming up with. Like this year, I'm a mom, okay? I'm a new mom, and I'm running a business, and I'm working 2 jobs. And so my schedule is packed. And so when we started this year, I was a bit worried. I said, man, it requires a lot, but you guys have made it so easy on us. Every day I see the post, the communication, I'm like, this is a dream team right here. So you should be very proud of you, every single one of you. Sally, you are amazing. Constant, every single one of you that is a part of the Lead team, you are doing amazing. And remember these words today. You are going to do great beyond even this program that we are having. I'm going to summarize today. Sister Mercy, thank you so much. If you guys hear noise in the background, it's my baby. Ignore that. But Sister Mercy, thank you so much for everything you shared. It was truly insightful and a blessing to me as well. I want to summarize what I'm going to share because we've learned so much from Sister Mercy, and the communications, the PowerPoint will be sent to you right after we are done. But like I said, I want to summarize to make it so easy. We'll be talking about communication, how vital it is. We live in a society where communication should be so easy, right? Because we have text messages, we have DMs, we have emails, we have Snapchat, we have so on and so forth, WhatsApp, but yet communication in this day and age has become so difficult because a lot of us are multitasking, okay? We have our cell phones. Sometimes you receive a message on your phone, you look at it, like, okay, I'll respond later. And you realize that later it happens to be 2 days, 3 days, and you still haven't responded to the message. So instead of communication being easier in this society, it has become so difficult because people have so many ways now. Like if they are, let's say, on Instagram or they are on Facebook, they receive a text message on WhatsApp, they'll probably ignore that because, you know, there's other things that has preoccupied their minds. So I wanted to show you today how you can narrow that down. It is so important to have priorities in life. Everything that you do matters when it comes to, give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Let me give my baby to her dad. 1 second. Proverbs. Mommy is doing something. 1 second. Can you guys see me? I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So communication is so important. It's very important for you to prioritize every single thing in your life. When it comes, what is more important when it comes to your education, when it comes to family, when it comes to friends, when it comes to random people on social media, what is more important? So you need to come into a place where you prioritize, you know, if, okay, I need to hear from my mom every single week, the mom is on top of the list. I need to hear from my boss, then my boss is on top of the list. You need to come up with a system that allows you to be on top of things. Because when you go into the corporate world, when they send you an email, they are expecting you to respond. And so many times we are not trained, in responding right away. So we ignore a lot of things when it comes to the corporate world. Your boss sends you a message and you don't respond. And then after he's like, did you see the message I sent to you? You're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. It's because you are not used to, responding right away. You are not used to making things a priority, that you will end up ignoring something that is so vital and so important in the workplace. So effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, and data so that the message is received and understood with clarity and purpose. When we communicate effectively, both the sender and receiver feels satisfied. Just imagine between you and your friends, when you send a friend a message and you don't hear back, sometimes it's like, man, did they see it? WhatsApp now allows people to unread messages. I don't know if you guys have seen that. And I realized that sometimes I will send someone a message, they'll read it and they will unread it because they don't have time to respond right away. But meanwhile, I have already seen that, okay, they've seen the message. But like I said earlier, prioritizing what needs my attention right away is what I have been practicing in my life. So like I said, I run a business, and so my schedule is packed, and I'm a mom, which is my biggest job. And sometimes I receive a text message from someone watching my child, like, oh, come, when you're coming, can you bring this back? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I have to make sure that that message is on top of every single thing I'm doing. So when you guys are planning your day-to-day activities and you know that, okay, you have messages to respond to, keep in mind who comes first and who you will be sending a message to, that you will need a response back right away. Back in the days, if you guys can look on the screen, you'll see two kids playing with I think in Ghana, they call it, forgive my chi, I'm terrible. I think it's called Coco, something like that. I don't know if you guys know, let me know. But, back in the days, I remember we used to play this game. You will speak on one end, another kid will listen, and you will try and speak back and forth. And it used to be, fun as kids. But another thing that I've realized that when it comes to this particular type of communication is that we were present. We were together, and people don't talk. People are not present anymore. You are talking to somebody, they will act like they are listening, but they are not really listening. And so after you ask them, oh, what did I say? They don't really have an answer for you because their ear was not with you. They were probably like acting like they were listening to you, but they were not. Then that's something that I miss, that I pray and I wish that we will bring back today in our society. When someone is talking to you, you listen before you respond. Don't be quick to respond. Listen to every single thing that they are saying, because I promise you, by listening to what someone is saying, you will learn something out of it. It might not seem like it's something important, but a little thing can change your life. Listen and don't be too quick to respond to every single thing that people say. You listen and you will be the best speaker anywhere, or, anywhere you find yourself, or in every situation. Because when questions are asked, you find that you are the one who is able to respond to the questions that are being asked, and so on and so forth. Another thing that I've realized when it comes to our African community, I had to learn this when I moved to America. When we talk to each other, we don't have eye contact. One of the best ways of communicating is with eye contact. When someone is talking to you, you have to look at the person in the eye. Here in America, and something I'll teach you today, when you are talking to somebody and you are unable to look them in the eye, they will think that you have something to hide. They will not respect you. They will not believe anything you are telling them because you are failing to look at them in the eye. To them, looking at them in the eye is a way of establishing trust that, listen, what I'm saying is 100% accurate and truth, and there is no lie in it. Even if you are spewing out lies, as long as you are looking at them in the eye, I promise you, whatever that you are looking for, whatever that you desire, they will give it to you because they believe in eye contact. I remember when I first came here and I went to the doctor, I was like 17 years old, and I went to the hospital. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a checkup. And when I went there, the doctor was asking me questions, and my face was down because in Africa, we are taught not to look at our elders in the face. I don't know, maybe things have changed now, because when you look at your elders, it's like, oh, you are disrespecting them to say. you are on the same level with me, you know, but here is different. And so when the doctor was talking to me, my head was down and I couldn't look at her directly. And she said to me, she said, is everything okay? Is there something you need to share with me? And I was wondering why she kept asking me so many questions. And my guardian that I was with at the time said, she's asking you all those questions because you are not looking at her. She thinks you are hiding something. And a lot of teenagers hide stuff. So once you look at her, she will stop asking you all these questions that she's asking. So I looked at her and at first I was shy, but I looked at her, I lifted my chin up and my head up and I realized that there is nothing, you know, to hold me back. And I said, yeah, I'm fine. I just want you to check me out to see if everything is all right. And after she was done, I sat back and I was like, oh my goodness, things are so different when it comes to, and it's all educational stuff, because we think that, okay, I'm looking at you, I'm disrespecting you. No, it's not like that. I'm looking at you because I found an interest in what you are saying. I actually care and I want to hear more. Please tell me more. So from today onwards, when you are talking to your friends, when you are talking to your family member, establish eye contact. It is so, so important. Like I said to you guys earlier, I'm trying to summarize everything because of time. I'll send you guys the PowerPoint I put together and a few videos for you guys to watch as well that will also help you. Another thing that I will also share with you guys is that when you are communicating with somebody and you are face-to-face with a person, they can read your facial expression. I'm on Zoom right now. I can see everyone's face, everyone whose video is on, I can see your face. Facial expressions is something that we learn in school. Like they tell you exactly what someone is thinking. If you are talking to somebody and they think that they don't care about what you are saying, you can tell exactly how their face, you know, whatever they make with their face, what they are, you know, they are thinking. And it happens even with friends. You know, when your mom is talking to you and you know what she's saying, it's like you are annoyed about it. There's a reaction that comes with your face. One thing I will tell you today is to learn to control those emotions. Let your mind teach your face how to cooperate with what is in your mind, okay? Even if you are not saying anything, what you are saying with your face is so much that you will end up missing out on opportunities because the person you are communicating with might not say anything to you right there and then, but after you leave, the person will be like, oh my goodness, what a rude person. I was talking to her, she was rolling her eyes, she was doing things, and you might ask yourself, man, when was I rolling my eye? When was I doing that? You don't even realize that your face was doing something different than what your heart was thinking. You know what I mean? So it's also important to learn how to control emotions out of our face. It's all a part of communication. When you are communicating with your professors, when you are communicating with friends, when you are communicating with the family, learn how to control emotions part of your face. You know, you miss out on opportunities if you don't. Another thing I will also share with you guys is to learn how to respond on time. I talked about prioritizing communication things and people that you need to talk to. Learn how to respond on time. If you know that a message comes in and you are unable to respond right away, it's okay sometimes to send a person a message and say that, hey, listen, I have seen this, I can't respond right now, but when I'm able to, I will. It's something that I am personally working on. And it's so important for all of us to develop that. You know, here at LEAD, last year, I know we talked a lot about responding to messages, responding to email. And it's something that each and every one of us is working on because life happens and we get so busy and we get so preoccupied with things that we are unable to get on top of that. But if you are able to even send someone a little message and said, hi, Miss Veronica, I am so sorry. I will not be able to respond to this right now, but I will when I get a minute. That alone will give the person peace of heart, knowing that, okay, listen, I have responded. Yesterday, I believe it was Jacqueline. I think you sent me a message, or was it one of you sent me a message yesterday reminding me of today's event. And right there and there, I was in a meeting. You did? Okay, thank you so much. I was in a meeting and I was like, okay, the message came in, you know, I glanced at my phone while in the meeting and I said, okay, I need to respond and let her know that I received a message, but I didn't want to grab my phone, you know, inside the meeting because I didn't want to disrespect the people I was meeting with. And so I waited. When we had a little break, I responded to her right away. I said, thank you, you know, see you tomorrow, etc., etc. So it's so important when someone sends you a message, if you care, that if you care, you will respond to that particular message. If you ignore it, they will think that, okay, you know, she doesn't really care. She doesn't really respect me. So what is the point of me continuing with the communication? So keep that in mind and try to be on top of your responses when it comes to school, when it comes to everyday life. When you apply for a job, one of the things that they will ask you, on your resume, they will tell you, they will say, oh, I see here you're an excellent communicator. Tell me more about that. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, you know what I mean? But you need to be able to prove yourself right there and there when they are interviewing you. And by proving yourself, it's you looking directly at the person interviewing you, listening to the questions and answering those questions accordingly. You know, if you are in a room with people and, you know, there is something happening and either you're on your phone testing somebody else, I promise you, you think to yourself that, oh, I've heard what they said, but majority of the time you didn't hear anything. You were distracted, and there are some things that you've probably missed that you will not be able to, you know, execute or, you know, bring an answer to them if you were in an exam room. And that's why so many people fail in school. That's why I said that we have the phone now, but there's a lot happening in the lives of people that, you know, these staff are not an efficient way of communicating, in my opinion, at least, because you sit in a classroom, the lecture is going on, someone is sending you a message, or, you know, you are either watching TikTok videos, the professor is communicating an information to you, but you are so distracted and it's exams time and you are stressed out, you don't know what is going on. That's because even though the human brain and the human mind is so powerful, there is so much it can handle in a particular setting. I can talk to you for 3 hours and you will only retain 5 minutes of the information I gave you. So the very first 5 minutes is so important, you know what I mean? And so that's why you can't be distracted when you are in such a setting, in a classroom, listening to your professor give a lecture. You cannot be distracted. You need to be focused on that particular thing. And when you finish, you can tackle the next person. The next thing, priority, priority, priority. And that will help you to succeed in life. You will not regret it, I promise you. You will sit in the exam room, realize that, oh man, I don't even have to study so much because I remember every single thing he talked about in class because I was focused on him. I paid attention to everything he was saying. So there isn't much. Maybe if I have to study, I just have to glance through everything that, you know, I've been given to me in class. But my mind has been able to retain information right there and there. So practice that and it will help you a lot. I'm about to summarize that. I have 2 videos, like I said, I'm going to send to you guys. I talk about face-to-face communication, one second, face-to-face communication, phone communication, and text and emails, etc. You guys will receive all that so that you can go through. I also have this picture from back in the days, you know, when they had to make announcement, the town people will go and, you know, knock that thing. I love that. And I love our culture so much. And you know, they will make an announcement that hear ye, that says the king, you know, and the message follows. You know, now they don't even have to do this in the villages. They have a cell phone, they have a phone to call people, you know. Maybe perhaps some still do this, but this was such a beautiful way of communicating. And when these men will come out, you guys will notice that the whole village will stand still because they want to hear the message that is being delivered. You know what I mean? And that's what I talk about. Being present, you know, and being able to hear what the person is saying, because when he's talking, he's delivering a message that the king has given. And if you walk past it, you haven't heard any single thing that he shared. Another thing that, well, let me see here. Okay, so I have here, one second. How can I be more effective communicator? I said, listen and talk, listen more than talk, okay? When we talk more than listen, we miss an opportunity to learn. Stop multitasking. When someone is talking to you, stop testing. It can wait. You know what I mean? Stop doing all that. When you are sending a message to a manager, to your professor, to even text messages to your friends, you have to proofread it. So many times we make so many messages. When you read people's messages, you will say, they don't know how to speak English, because most of us don't proofread. Sometimes you are typing, let's say if I want to type Sally, you are typing, your phone would think that you are trying to say something else. And next thing you know, you send Sally with a W at the end because you didn't proofread that. You know what I mean? So proofread your messages, proofread your emails. That is all an effective ways of communication. And also plan your outcome. You know, take time before any important discussion to plan what you are going to say and what you are going to accomplish and what you want the people to learn from it. So as gathering here right now, what do I want you to benefit from this particular setting? Even though I'm summarizing everything so quick, like, what do I want you to learn? I want you to learn to listen more and talk less. I want you to stop multitasking when someone is talking to you so that you can understand and grasp everything they have to tell you. Proofread every message before you send it out, because once you send it out there, it's out there. And I know WhatsApp allows you to delete messages, but most of the time, if I'm on my phone, I've already read what you have to say. If I have an opportunity, I have to give you, and I feel like you are not competent enough to handle that opportunity, it might pass you by. So plan your outcome, plan what you are going to, talk about before, you get into the room, what you are going to want to accomplish before you get into that setting that you find yourself in. And so those are the few things I want you to remember today. And my question to you is, and I don't want you to even bother answering them right now, because I know time is fast spent. It's something that you can think about yourself and even send a message on the group. What are some effective communication practices you will be implementing in your life today? What is something that, even if you are not working a corporate job, what is something that you'll be practicing in school? Are you going to be looking at people in the eye when they are talking to you? Are you going to listen and not be distracted by other things? Are you going to be present when they are communicating with you so that at least they know that, okay, so-and-so cares and is willing to listen to what I have to say? Because to be honest with you, when I am communicating with somebody, with a group of people, and I see that there is one or two or three that are actually listening to me and are paying attention to what I'm saying, I find more interest in those 2 or 3 people. And those are the ones that I want to offer opportunities to, because I know that tomorrow, if they are working for me, or they are doing something with me, or we are building something together, I know that I'll be able to get responses from those people rather than being with somebody and they are completely distracted and they are not present with me. Anyway, that is all I wanted to share with you guys today. So this is food for thought. It's something that you should really think about so that, you can better your lives and better your careers and your education and your family and so on and so forth. Thank you guys so much. I'll ask Mrs. Viola Teba to take over. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely ask, but I'm going to ask Viola to step in right now. Thank you all so much. Jacqueline.
Hi. My question is, as a shy person, to be able to effectively communicate with people, how do I go about it? And
Okay.
instance, when there is a group presentation going on with a whole lot of people in front of you, how will you be able to get your message to them effectively?
Oh, that's a great question, Jacqueline. So something I'll show you today, if you can see my face, okay? Let me hold my glasses up. I can't see without this, but the light was shining. But so as a shy person, okay, I used to be more shy than anyone I've ever met. I used to be so shy because growing up in Ghana, I speak French, and I lived in the Ivory Coast, and a lot of times, anytime I had an opinion about something, my dream has always to be a journalist, okay? And so growing up, I always used to talk. One day, it took one day for my voice to be silenced by one person in my family. It was an aunt. Something had happened to me. It's another conversation for another day, okay? Something bad had happened to me. And I came to her to tell her that, Auntie, this person did this to me, this person did that to me. I just said, be quiet, don't talk like that. If you open your mouth again. And right there and then, she silenced me. And as a child, I went into my shell and I was not able to come out of it until I was in my teens. And so I felt for the longest time I didn't have a voice. And so when people would talk to me, I was shy. I didn't even want to respond. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And, you know, moving to the United States, and I told you guys the story about, you know, being in the hospital, and after that experience, a lot happened in between that change. But as a shy person, when you are talking to somebody and you feel like you can't look at them in the face, you can't look at them in the eye, in a group setting, you see these glasses I'm holding, right? This is my eye right here. You know, my two sets of eye, and this is my ear. I'm doing this because I don't know how the camera perceives me and if you guys are able to see. But when you are talking to somebody as a shy person and you can't look at them directly in the eye, look at them past your eye a little bit by their ear, okay? Right here. So it looks like you are while listening to what they are saying, because remember, what they are saying is what is more important. Looking at them in the face is good, but what the person is saying, are you hearing it? That is what is more important. So this is just an illusion. You're looking at them past this eye a little bit, like their ear. If I'm looking at your ear, you know, the eye speaks, you know. You don't have to say anything, and your eyes will be saying everything you are thinking. When someone becomes emotional, their eyes is saying a lot. You know, it's like they want to cry, and you will tell them, "Oh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." You know, because you can tell from their eye. So when you look past their eye a little bit here on their ear, you know what I mean? It's like I'm looking at you, but at the same time, I'm not really looking at you. You know what I mean? It's all about what you are hearing. But if you are shy, you look past their eye a little bit and their ear. I do that all the time when I'm in the meeting with my bosses that, you know, I feel like, oh man, I want to get to that level one day. I'm not yet there. You know, I'm not intimidated, but I'm so impressed with them that I can't really like, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm listening to you, sir, while looking at them past their eye. And the whole time in their minds, they think that, you know, my face, you know, I was looking at them. So that's something that you can do and it will help. Mm-hmm. Any other question? Mrs. Viola, you can step in if anything.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Jacqueline.
I have another question by for Madam Mercy. If
Okay.
she's on the call.
I'm going to mute myself for a second while she answers you.
Sure. Madam Mercy, please, my question to you is, as an introvert, how can I develop my human relation? And I don't know if it is true, but there are some people, as soon as you see them, you just don't like them. How can you overcome that? Like, as soon as you just don't like the person, you can't tell what the person has done. You can't give your reasons to not liking the person, but it's just not there. How can you develop that relation? Yeah.
So my first question is there a reason why you don't like the person?
No, but I don't know. It's as soon as you see them, there's just, it's like their appearance turns you off. You just don't know how to pinpoint what is wrong, but then it's just not there. They eat at first sight.
Yeah. So well, I would say, well, first of all, it depends on what you perceive them as. It depends on your perception about them. If you've had some sort of maybe personal, well, some sort of interaction with them, and maybe they had said something to put you off, or maybe even it's not with you, or maybe with somebody else, and you know, because of that, I know it can happen. You may not like somebody just because maybe they had said something to somebody you didn't like, but I would say, as an introvert person, I would just say, just try to overcome that by just talking to them at first, you know, just say hello. When you see them, say hello, hi, how are you? Like, start some sort of conversation, and then just see, you know, how it goes. Because sometimes what you're thinking at that moment may not be even what you would actually get in that person. So for me, for example, like I mentioned earlier, people thought that I was mean, right? So when somebody also sees me, because they think that I'm mean, they're not gonna like me. And I'm sure there have been so many people who probably did not like me because I looked mean, right? And my friends, even my friends in the United States, have told me that before, that when I first met you, I did not like you at all. And it's because with the other person, it's because of something that I said, right? And at that moment, maybe I was having a bad day at that day, and something slipped out of my mouth, and I wasn't supposed to say that. And so if the person had told me, okay, hey, you said this to me, and so that made me feel this way, maybe it would have given me an opportunity to even say sorry to the person, or maybe think more about my reactions. But the truth is, if you're not told, you probably may not know. And that's why I say, if somebody says something about you, like at least 3 different people say the same thing about you, and it's negative, then that means you need to really do something about it. And so with me, because they thought that I was mean, maybe they didn't like me. And I know one of them did admit to me that she never liked me because, I had said something. And I was like, I felt bad when I said, well, I feel really bad. Like, I don't want people to think that about me. I don't want to scare people away. And so now I began changing, the way, I relate to people and stuff like that. And I would say just a simple conversation will go a long way. And just try to overcome your fears. Like Miss Veronica said, when you're talking to this with somebody and you feel shy, just try not to, if you can't look right in their eyes, just look past where they're looking at. And all the stuff that she said is actually right, because even when I came here as well, I felt uncomfortable to even look at people in their eyes. And I noticed it's a culture here, like you have to look in their eyes and they will think you're lying. But because we were not trained that way, there were a lot of things that I had to learn. And so, I used to be introvert as well. But I would say what has helped me is actually by communicating more, overcoming those fears, talking more to people, smiling at them when I see them. Hello, how are you? That starts some sort of conversation.
Okay. Please, the first question is, how is emotional intelligence related to these 2 topics? And the second one is, to build an effective communication in human relations, do we have to work on our emotional intelligence?
Okay. So, well, first of all, let's talk about emotional intelligence. When we say emotional intelligence, what do you understand by emotional intelligence?
Okay, so I understand emotional intelligence as not letting your emotions get in the way with your effectiveness, how effective you can be in a work setting or anywhere you find yourself.
Okay. Yeah, so with looking at how that emotional intelligence relate to communication, I think they both have I would say some sort of similarities, because even with emotional intelligence, you want to be able to manage communications, and also how people communicate, how people express their emotions, and stuff like that. So I think they're both kind of similar in a way. But with human relations, I would say we're leaning more towards behaviors, attitudes. And then with communications, you want to be able to better understand the person, to be able to maybe show the right human relation behavior to the person, right? So I think both of them kind of relate to each other. And then the second question, you said to be an effective communicator. What was the one that was
The
What was
question
the
was
rest of the sentence?
to build an effective
Oh, to
communication,
build.
yes, please.
Mhm.
Human
Okay.
relation skills. Do you have to work on your emotional needs?
Well, yeah, you do. Definitely you do, because let's just say if somebody maybe tells, okay, so let's just say somebody criticizes you, right? And then you go, hey, in return, like, you're sort of rude to the person, right? Maybe the person didn't harm to criticize you that way. Maybe it might be something related to work, or maybe something the person has seen that needs to be improved, in you, but you took it the other way and you reacted negatively. So you also have to see that your reactions can also affect maybe the person as well, because the person may be like, okay, this person, oh, I can't really talk to this person, or even advise this person because they're going to react this way. And so you also have to be, I would say, sort of be sensitive to how the person feels, and then also try to see that, okay, first of all, is what the person says a good or bad? Is it going to help me? What can I take from this? And so I think by knowing that, I think it will be able to help you to build effective communication skills. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And Veronica, if you have something you want to add, you're welcome to. There's no right or wrong answer. Oh, Viola.
I have a crying baby here, but I wanted to add that something that we as Africans need to work on is not to be overly emotional, because we miss out on opportunities. In this life, people will offend you. And let me speak on the corporate world. When you work for people, you will feel like you are working for Satan. People will push your buttons. They will, something that you will not even say to yourself, they will say it to you. You come home and you are respected, and then you go out there and they are rude to you. They belittle you. People belittle other people so that they can feel better about themselves. And you have to be able to identify those moments in conversations, and so that you can stand your grounds and not let your emotions get the best of you. Because so many people have missed out on opportunities because they reacted right away after something happened to them. You know what I mean? And so keep that in mind and don't get easily offended. Me, when I'm in a place of work, I tell myself this: I'm here to make money. I'm not here to make any friends, okay? And it's true. I don't have any time. When you have a child, your time is limited. And so if I'm giving you my time, it's either to bless someone that I really care about, or to make money. Those two things. If not, then I don't have the time. So I'm not going to let anything I'm feeling stand in my way of getting an opportunity. And that's something I even tell my younger sister. I tell her all the time, don't let your emotions, no matter how you are feeling, learn how to control that when you are in a room of people, when you are in a room where opportunities can come from. You might not see those opportunities right away, but if you are able to not get upset about someone or something that somebody is doing, the sky will not even be the limit for you. Okay, so that is something that you need to keep in mind and practice, and it will really help you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all so much, our speakers. We want to wrap up from here, but we truly took a lot from this lesson. Just one little sense that I want to add on to this is your self-awareness is always important on how you are able to perceive things and receive things. And like both our speakers have said, and what I'll say is that don't take anything in life too personal. Especially when you go into the real world, like they already said, if you take things personal, you are always going to be on the offensive side and always trying to defend yourself. So do not take everything that you go outside in the real world personal. Just if somebody says something, act like you had it over here and it went on the other side, So like you said, you always, when it comes into our human relations and our communication, we always also have to think about our emotions as well, and we can deal with our emotions. Because like, if you can control your emotions, you're gonna act irrationally, and that can affect a lot of things. So it's very important. And one thing I would like to wrap up on this one is that Madam Mercy said, Maya Angelou, it's not how people will always forget how you made them, what you did, right, or but how you made them feel. So when you are dealing with people, and we, in the church, I always say, how would Jesus act in this scenario? Always have that at the back of that. How would I, if this person did this to me, how would I feel? And that, in that sense, this is how I want, to be. This is how I want to feel, or this is how I want something good to happen to me. Therefore, I'm going to actually do this to the other person, that it doesn't have to affect them in the negative run. Okay. So in that sense, we're going to wrap up over here. We want to thank our speakers for a wonderful job and a great work done. And I know that our students have gained so much wisdom from these lessons. I know our time went overboard, but we truly appreciate the knowledge that we got today. Thank you guys so much for spending the time with us. We appreciate each and every single one.
Thank you too.
You all have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.